Hey, and unbelievably, welcome to the second episode of my podcast. I'm your host, Severi Lehtimäki, and this time let's try something a little bit different. Instead of doing a bass jam right at the beginning, I'm gonna have a little word here. Let's call it a little commercial beginning, that using my name, which you can see on the podcast, or using the podcast name, you can find me and the podcast also on YouTube, where you might find videos of the podcast and covers, maybe gig vlogs if gigs ever happen again. So yeah, really excited to do this new episode of the podcast, really been excited for it. And for today, for the first little playing session, I'm gonna try to do a little blues. Yeah, well, that was a jam and a half. Uh, I guess there was some decent things going on, uh, but also some flubbering and blubbering about these fingers ain't going where I want them, and kind of static of a movement. But anyway, uh, this past week, being doing some more bluesier stuff for the first blues stuff I've done in a really, really long time. Been mostly focusing on the jazz, and even though the blues is the jazz and the jazz is the blues, never really concentrated on blues things. But now, since last week, been trying to improvise over a minor blues changes. That's the changes from a song called Mr. PC. Obviously, when I do improvisation, I usually don't try to play the chords, but now that I am presenting a improvisation to you, if anyone's listening, I have this feeling that I might need a little bit of accompaniment, and until I get a looper of some sort working, I'm gonna have to probably try to do more these kinds of jams. But it's good, it's different, not just random diddling and soloing and stuff like that. But yeah, so this week, the main focus of my last week and probably this podcast also is gonna be about practicing. Started a new training, practicing schedule, regiment, plan thing last week. Been following it for the past week, and I wanna say some things about it, what I'm feeling. It's a weird feeling when you've played a number of years and then you start really trying to learn how to practice. Practicing has been a big thing for a while now, but not for the whole time that I've been playing. Like, I mean that I've been trying to really concentrate on practicing for maybe the last 1.5 years or so. It has been a big part of my playing, trying to learn how to practice in an effective and enjoyable way, where it's not just annoying, but also that I get the hours done and get stuff done and progress. And it's really been working, and now I got a new schedule thing, and it's really interesting to see that it's still pretty hard to go by a schedule like this. The main things I have divided the main things I practice into 7 different categories, and they are also segments that have been categorized in a way that I can practice those for about 45 minutes in one go, and then I'll probably have to have a little break. I'm that sort of a person that I can practice many hours a day, but the hours consist of usually like 45-minute playing segments and then 15 minutes of break, and I really need to have that. And I've noticed that even without using a clock, just about 45 minutes in my practice session, I usually start just fumbling and jamming other things, and my mind isn't concentrating anymore on the task at hand. And then I know I need to get a break and then I have a break, and then I move to the same thing continuing, or usually a new thing, another thing for the next segment. But yeah, I got seven of those, and I try to do maybe 3 every day, and so they're rotating on a 2-week schedule, and after 2 weeks it starts again. So I'm only halfway in through my regiment, and there's been slippage. I slipped from my schedule. It's interesting, and it's kind of annoying, but then again, is it though? I am still getting stuff done. So, but yeah, couple of the segments I have, instead of doing those, for example, sight reading, music, to get better at sight reading, I've been, instead of just doing those, I've been jamming, playing whatever I want, and like I'm still spending the hours on the instrument, so obviously that's obviously really good in itself. I'm not playing when I'm not going through my schedule, but even the jamming doesn't really, obviously, in stuff like reading music notes or something like that, it isn't really helping. So that's kind of annoying. Gotta pull up my bootstraps and really follow that schedule, and after that I can have some good times. And I'm not saying there's not a lot of, I like most of the segments, and a lot of the segments are improvisation into different jazz and a little bit of blues, and I really enjoy those. I do those a lot, even more than I need to during the day. But still, practicing is really difficult. Also, I when we're talking about practicing, or I'm monologuing about practicing to this podcast, I also have brought it up with my own bass students. With them, we're trying to just find a rhythm of playing at least a little bit every day. And that's obviously, for most people, that would be the most important part. Me talking here and saying that I practice hours every day is probably different than a lot of players, at least the ones who aren't trying to go pro as their main goal. Everyone who's just having fun with the instrument, having instrument as a hobby, it really is enough to just do like 15 minutes of, and if 15 minutes of something standardized and thought about kind of exercise a day, and then if you want to pick up the instrument and jam, play along, learn songs, or do anything more freely, obviously it's all good. You gotta spend the hours on the instrument. That's the important part, not the sight reading and the metronome practices, but the hours, the times had with the instrument. That's the most important part. So we've been trying to find those kind of good exercises to have for 15 minutes a day, and then moving on, if you have the time, to move on to something more enjoyable. But if you can do 15 minutes a day of something kind of boring, it'll take you far. A bass player should should spend time with a metronome, should spend time with drum tracks, should spend time practicing their technique, whatever technique it is, practicing their hearing, their ears, those things, even though you don't want to. We should all do those. Not all of those every day, but at least one of those subjects for the 15 minutes, I think. At least it's a good starting point. And I think it can take anyone pretty far. But yeah, that's my tangent, my monologue on practicing. That's like the big part right now, to try to get a schedule going for myself that I memorize and understand and can keep going. So obviously I failed, but tomorrow's a new day. Today, for example, the practice time I'm doing today is this podcast and something after it, and the clock is 8:30, so haven't practiced a lot today, but you gotta do other schoolwork as well. You can't always just hang out with the instrument. But I did my 15 minutes today, and I'll try to get it to a full hour maybe, addition to what I play on this podcast. But yeah, also found been listening to, I'm so annoyed I don't think I can play it onto the podcast. I'm gonna have to find out what kind of copyright law there is, but started listening to some Anthony Jackson bass lines, reading them out. If you're listening to this, you might want to check out Anthony Jackson playing anything with Michel Camilo, I think his name is. Michel. Amazing stuff going on. It's Anthony Jackson's tone is just somewhere else. That muting technique he has with the 6-string is amazing. Right now, been trying out a song called One More Once from the album One More Once. Great big band stuff. And I'm sorry I can't play the bass line with the music. I don't dare. I don't want to get copyrighted, but there's some cool stuff going on. Really not doing great with that. But go listen to the Anthony Jackson where he's playing this song, and oh my god, that muting he's so fast, so elegant, and just, I think, the definition of clean. God damn. just cool stuff that I can't really play yet, which is embarrassing. I don't know. I guess this is a practicing podcast and stuff like that, so sorry, not really sorry. Okay, yeah, what other stuff been doing? As you heard last podcast, I like doing chordal stuff on the bass. I've been really been into these just making solo bass covers based on just whatever chords they have on the fake books or the real books, and just trying to play the chords with the melody. And this last week I did a first draft of a oh my god, what In a Sentimental Mood. God damn. I'm sorry. Really forgot. But yeah, In a Sentimental Mood. Did a first draft of that, and then I'm probably gonna turn it into this time. If you go to my YouTube, you'll find just the main theme of Someday My Prince Will Come, and this time I wanna do a full with a solo version of In a Sentimental Mood, but I don't know in what kind of a format I should do it, because I don't have a looper right now. I would otherwise do some kind of a play the lead and then play the chords and for one chorus, and then start doing a solo and then end with another head. But yeah, can't do it right now. I could pre-record the chorus, but that's just doesn't feel very good. But probably at some point I'm gonna find a way to do this. I could play a little bit of the style I'm meaning with the In a Sentimental Mood. So yeah, no reharmonizations yet, just basic chords found in a real book. Yeah. Oof. Such a professional way of doing a podcast. Screw up the B section of a song, just don't do a new take in After Effects or anything, just bail out, do the last A section, and fine job, Severi. Good goings, fine moods, but yeah, there it goes with a ending of sorts. Doing it kind of by the book, but trying to find a little flair in it. Gonna have to do maybe some reharmonizations and then learn to solo over it in a good way, so I can do a proper cover of it. It was also really good to notice, a very healthy moment for my mental health to notice that I tried to without anything backing me, tried to play a solo for that and really tried to play out the harmony, and just had a lot of trouble like just playing alone, keeping myself in good time. It was really annoying, really gonna have to get that into my practicing schedule, just playing a solo on my own without accompaniment and keeping the time, keeping the harmony, not playing anything interesting even, just solo type of melody lines alone. Really couldn't do that really well. But I guess as a bassist, yeah, you should be able to keep time, but usually more in a walking bass kind of a situation. So maybe I hope I would fare better doing that. But who knows? Just who knows? Yeah, I'm gonna be reporting back about that if we don't see a cover going up. Then I'll be talking about it here, about my failures in music. That's the part where I would put my advertisements, if I had any. Anyways, and I guess I could go for a small, what would you call it? A small gear section talking about bass gear. And well, nothing really radical this week going on, but would like to talk a little bit about what's it like being a music student who has pretty fine gear, and I am really happy with them, and still seeing an instrument and just falling in love without even seeing it live on the internet. Getting that gas gear acquisition syndrome moment. Luckily, can't afford it. So I stumbled upon a 6-string Fodera bass selling for a pretty good price for a Fodera. A 90s one 6-string full custom, oh damn, mahogany body and Bubinga top, and obviously can't afford it. Way too pricey. Even in my wildest dreams, it's still too expensive, but god damn did I spend many minutes this week just thinking about where I could steal a couple €1,000 extra to buy that thing. And it's like, it's kind of insane when I think about how I'm immediately just obsessing over this instrument, and I don't really know if it's my type of instrument. I haven't played it. It's in a kind of a interesting setup. It's a 6-string with a 36-inch scale length and 19 millimeters string spacing. So it's a massive instrument. But going back to the Anthony Jackson, his well-known custom signature instrument has the same kinds of specs, and I'm really interested in trying an instrument like that. I'm really into the 36-inch massive scale length 6 strings with massive string spacing. My bass right now has an 18 millimeter string spacing, and I'm pretty fine with it, pretty okay. I'm happy with this bass that I have right now, but to go a little bit further and scale length and all that, these are the things I'll be raving about in the future also, probably in a couple of occasions if I ever get this chance. But yeah, and yeah, I don't know if it's for me. It might just be too big. So even if I had the money, I would have to like contact the seller, and with the corona I can't travel, I can't do anything insane like flying to the place that has the base. It's abroad from Finland, flying to the place and going to check it live. I would have to find some kind of a deal so that if it doesn't fit me, but there's nothing wrong with it, I could still like return it if it's not my instrument. I am pretty confident that after all of these years of trying to find the perfect bass for myself and really going down with the small things and trying at least some different things, I think I would be pretty confident in knowing pretty fast if the instrument's for me or not. But obviously I can't know for sure. But damn, just immediately fell right into the deepest part of the pool known as gear acquisition syndrome. Whew. But yeah, I'm gonna try to keep these gear parts probably pretty short. Maybe talk about if there's anything interesting in NAMM. I haven't seen anything right now from the virtual NAMM. I don't know if it ended already. It might have. I don't know. But if there's something interesting to me, then I just might talk about it here. I'm probably gonna be talking about some gear stuff from time to time. But yeah, probably. Yeah, let's start closing off this small moment that we had tonight. And yeah, I'll be returning next week. You can find me on Instagram. You can find me on YouTube. In YouTube, there might be some video things. If I get questions, I could answer those. And I hope you follow, you like the podcast, and I'll see you next week. Yeah. See ya.